YouTubers, family and friends. We're here in northwestern Mindanao at my homestead here. I built way out in the jungle. My name's Edward. Welcome back to the channel. The thing I want to talk to you about today is passports and visas and overstay. So these things you never really plan for, and you try to plan for and prepare for the best you possibly can when you come as an expat to another country. And of course I'm in the Philippines, and this happened to me because of COVID. Yes, my love. Yes, my love. That's my bride. I'm not sure if you saw her with the camera.
Right now.
Yeah.
You're not helping me.
Yeah, we went to we had to run and get this, which is LBC. They're the courier service most used in the Philippines. And we've been waiting. That was what my passport was in. Coming back to me here at my home. It's supposed to be door to door, and the agency that helped me, the immigration consultants, was JRC. They've been used by a lot of the expats here for renewal of visas or whatever immigration troubles they might be having. JRC is one of the biggest ones in the Philippines, and they have an office in Manila and in Cebu, and we live in Mindanao, which is the closest office. It would be in Cebu for us. So we've taken the ferry there a couple times from Cebu. It's a 12-hour ferry ride for us, and it's about an hour drive from our house to the ferry port. So we've been trying to coordinate this since late January of 2025, and only now on the 23rd of, or might be the 22nd of July, I just now got my entire, almost, what has it been, 4 years? Hi, kitty. This is the kitty that bonded to me, a young cat. She was a stray about 6 months ago, and she bonded to me, and now she's one of our cats. Our other two cats died of I don't know, wasting disease or something. They were older, but they both died within probably a month or two of each other, that we've had here for over 5 years. So now we have two other stray cats that now are ours that we take care of here. And they kill the rats and stuff around here. And if you're in the Philippines, you should have dogs and cats. Cats for the rats, of course, because there's rats everywhere. And then dogs, of course, to keep the evil away. Or, yeah, any evil, basically. So anyways, let's get back to the subject here. Like I say, I overstayed since 2020. Actually, September of 2020, it was my overstay when it started, right? And that was after COVID had started, and we were still in construction here at the house, and all that got shut down for like 3 months. Maybe March, April, and May, I had to shut down construction because everything was getting locked down, and then I was able to restart it back up after that. But then by September, everything was still locked down. The immigration office from me here in the deep jungle is 2.5 hours away. So it was almost impossible for me to get there, because they had checkpoints at the borders of the provinces here, and you had to get special passes from the LGU that you lived in. And I mean, some of you that lived through it knows what it was about and what had happened. Well, not only was COVID a problem for me to renew my tourist visa, because I was on a Billick buy-on visa from September of 2019 with my wife and my autistic son. We entered the country in fall of or September of 2019, and then in January of 2020 we were actually in Cebu, my wife and I, doing IVF, trying to get her pregnant, right? So which was, it turned out to be successful for us, and that's our 5-year-old child that we have right now, right? So we're talking, it was over 4 to 4.5 years, right, that I was in an overstay situation. And a couple times I got pulled over and asked for my ID, but I was with my wife, and I just refer the police, the PNP, to her, and she did all the talking. So, you know, my driver's license from the U.S. had expired, so I'm driving around with no license, no ID, nothing, because I was in an overstay situation. And I did not absolutely, even once things started opening up in the when was it? In 2022. I traveled one time to see my brother that lived in near Angeles City for a couple weeks, and that's it. That's about the only travel I did out of Mindanao until January, when I went to Cebu on the ferry with, you know, no ID, anything. You could it's pretty much free travel within the islands and stuff without ID. At least I was able to do it. Maybe you're not supposed to be able to do it, but as long as you're with your Filipino wife and you're in a situation you're trying to get normalized, then it seems to be okay, because I got through it just fine. So, and this is not something I planned, guys, right? I mean, then I didn't want to leave at all while my son was an infant. I mean, I was making his baby food until he was over 1 year old. I would blend all his food from fresh fruits and vegetables. So he was eating all self-made and self-prepared by me fruits and vegetable puree baby food, right? I did it all myself, and that's what he ate, other than my wife's breast milk. And then after 1 year, then he started having a formula. So I didn't want to leave my Filipino wife. It's her first child, and she was so unsure about almost everything. And you know how children, young infants and stuff, they get sick, or they'll get stuffy nose, or I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong, and you really have to know what you're doing. And we're so far from doctors and stuff. I pretty much have all my own medical supplies here, and I was basically an EMT in my oil field job, so I knew how to take care of all that stuff. So anyways, I'm trying to cut down on the story a little bit here now. I realize I'm going on and on. Sorry about that, guys. But this is just kind of the stuff that happens in life, that you get behind, and then, then I started running out of money. I had 3 income sources, and 2 of those sources ran out. And so then I only had 1 income source, and then I was waiting on my second pension, because that starts in about 90 days from now. So anyways, like I say, JRC, they just finally was able to send this. So from the end of January, when I went to JRC and filled out all the paperwork, they charged me $15,000 for the service of the reconciliation, application for reconciliation of the overstay. Then another 10,000 pesos to get my passport, my old passport, stamped to my new passport. So that's what I did with at the embassy, U.S. consulate in Cebu. I made appointments and we went there first, and I got my renewed passport, and then I was waiting on that, and then I got that like in end of March. It was like 60 days or a little bit, might have been 70 days before I received that back from the U.S., my new passport. Then I had to send that to JRC. Once they received that, and I had already given them my old passport, so then, while I was there at JRC, also I got the background check. And that's an international background check. So that was an additional, I think 5,000 pesos. So altogether, that was like 30,000 pesos as a fee to JRC. Then, and then all the paperwork that they needed, and we were back and forth on LBC sending documents back and forth that they wanted, documents for my wife, and it was all good for me that I was married. I had to show my wife's, me and my wife's marriage certificate. We were married in the Philippines. Showed my wife's birth certificate. Showed my son's birth certificate. And all those are reasons of the extended overstay, right? My son's birth, COVID, running out of money, and then also I had my 2 different surgeries on my feet, ended up a half a foot amputation on my left foot. All those were so-called excuses of why they were able to accept my reconciliation of the overstay and to move forward and accept it as long as I paid the fines and fees, right? So I got this today, and then one thing that they gave me that came back with this, and I didn't know they were going to, but I have never had an ARC card, which is Alien Certificate of Registration, and I can show you that without my photo and without my name on it right there. This Republic of the Philippines Alien Certificate of Registration. So, and it says tourist, right? And it even has a chip on it. And I've never seen one before, but now that's what it looks like if you guys are curious about it. So I got one of those, and they charged me, I think it was like 3,500 pesos or something like that for that. And then, like I say, here's my 2 passports, my old passport, which is punched, and then my new passport. And then they, of course, do all the stamps inside that. I won't open those up because it's not allowed on YouTube. And then they gave me all this stuff, which is basically the bills for the fines for my overstay. So here's all the fees in the total, 77,400 basically. And then my visa, they made my stamped visa. Actually, they didn't stamp it in my passport, but they gave me this. So now I have to go to Osamis, which is the closest immigration to me, 2.5 hours away, and we're going to do that tomorrow. And hopefully they're going to put a stamp in my passport saying, because when I get to the airport and trying to leave, because I only have until August 30th now, and I have to fly out and come back later. So that was part of the fee. So that's for 4.5 years, guys. 77,000 plus another 32,000 here. Where is that? Where does it say that? Right here, another 32,000. So that puts us over 100,000. Then another 15,000. That's for arrears certificate fee. And then for what we all know that is very highly suspect of a bogus charge is this express lane fee. And that was 10,000 pesos. So that's another 20. So there's about 125,000. And then all told, it was I sent them 150,000 and I got 14,000 back. So 136,000 was the total that I paid for like 4.5 years of Overstay. And then not only that, but then the travel, I had to go to Cebu. How many times we go there? I guess just once in January. We went there one other time. Yeah, we went there one other time for one other thing, and I forgot what it was. But so 2 trips back and forth ferries, and that's ends up being for the family like $500. So there's another $1,000, and this whole process here with the paperwork was another $3,000. So probably $3,500 altogether. So that's just gives you a ballpark figure of an overstay of that long. And like I say, you don't do this stuff on purpose, because I was an illegal alien up until today when I received my passport back for 4.5 years. So it's not that huge of a deal. I wasn't like living in fear or any of that stuff, guys, because I was going through the process. And I had police officers, they'd come here all the time and check on me, because I live in Sambunga del Norte, and there's been kidnappings and killings and stuff, and I'm in Mindanao, and it is a higher risked area for foreigners. But I've never had a problem the whole time I've ever lived here in 10 years. So I just got to put that out for you, because in my experience, it's been fine. But then again, I'm not like a playboy playing on women or anything like that. I'm a married man with a family. I'm protected by the state because I'm part of the family. And actually, in the Philippines, and I've told you guys this lots of times, in the Philippines Constitution, even if you're a foreigner, if you're married, the Constitution protects the family. So it's a great deal where you're cared for just like a citizen, almost just like a citizen. Some people say no, but yeah, it's true. So that all is a benefit to, if you're an upstanding person doing the right thing, getting a family, putting down roots with buildings and children and stuff like that. You're going to be way more okay than if you're just playing around dating women. You're going to get yourself in trouble doing that. But I've known foreigners that have gotten married here in the Filipina, raking them over the coals too. So you really got to watch out who you marry, because they can't get any money out of you, but you're going to lose. And most foreigners, they just walk away. But legally, you still own half of whatever you've built here. So unless the Filipina is going to say, oh, you were abusing, or you did this illegal thing or that illegal thing, which that can happen too. So if one of the parties, especially the Filipina, is going to tell a bunch of lies to the courts, the foreigner's not going to have that much of a chance. But that being said, legally, unless they can prove it, right, and they would have to prove that stuff in court, because you own as a joint landowner or joint property owner, you own up to 40% of that property. So, and some people have told me that no, that's just for corporate or business stuff, but that's all I got to say is that the marriage contract protects you. It really does. And you're not going to get that deal in the U.S. You're going to lose half of everything, at least half of everything, no matter what. And you can get, the trigger can be pulled on you at any time by the wife to force you to divorce and take your kids and force you to pay huge money in child support. That stuff ain't going to happen here, hon. Yeah. Anyways, okay, I showed you guys about what it was for the overstay and everything. So that's just a heads up to you guys. If you get yourself behind or you can't make payment or something, all this stuff, life happens. So that's kind of just to give you a heads up of where you could end up. And really, it's a easy deal where I didn't have to deal with any government officials whatsoever at all. All I did is go through JRC, and by the time they got all the documentation, my new passport and everything sent over to the Cebu office from when I was there in the end of January, it was like by May 1st that they had all that they needed, and then they submitted it May 1st to immigration, and now it's near the end of July, so about 60 days, and that's what they tell you, between 30 and 60 days the process takes before you're going to get, back your passport back and back to a visa situation where you're not an illegal alien anymore. So it worked out pretty darn good, and I'm really happy with the services of JRC. So just keep that in mind, and look them up if you ever need any services for your visa, immigration, consultancy problems. So that being said, that's it for this video. Love you guys very much, and take care, and God bless. Bye-bye.